See the third question. Okay, I have to see the model question, right? 1 minute. Model answer. Whose answer? We are seeing second. This is also one good approach. Whose paper is this? RK Nath. I don't know if you are there in the class. RK Nath. So in the
I am in the
left.
class.
Okay. What is your name? Full name?
Kedarnath, sir.
Kedarnath. Okay. Good. So wherever you are seeing these Northeast insurgencies or internal security questions, you are able to see my cursor, everyone. This is a very ideal approach. Small box on the right. Are you able to see my cursor, everyone? And then drawing Indian map and then explaining what are the places of which are the states impacted by LWE. And she has named the question also, named the diagram also. You number the diagram, Kedar. Number the diagram, figure 1 or something like that. Because in some questions you may have to use multiple diagrams. So it's better to label the diagram. You have given the name of the diagram, but label it figure 1 like that. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Capitalizing the natural forest cover and brainwashing the downtrodden. Okay. Influencing can be a better word. Okay. Thick forest cover. Okay. Okay, you are talking about this thing also. Yes, these points can be elaborated. These are the important points, no? Historically affected points. Instead of writing one word or one this thing, you can just write in a proper sentence. Failure of land reforms. Okay, good. Continuous oxygen supply of ideology means, what do you mean? Kedar?
Sir, spreading of their ideology in the forms, various forms like songs, dances, and spreading fake news against a state, etc., sir.
Then that has to be elaborately written. So what do you mean by oxygen supply of ideology? So you say that the ideology is also in the mainstream society, it is being encouraged by few. That's what you mean to say, right?
Yes, sir.
Even in the mainstream society, few of them are supporting this ideology through songs, whatever it is, whatever is through books and all. Okay. Okay, role of external state actors, good. Strategy of government, yes. In strategy of government, you can write this also, like how it can encourage people to come out of the Naxalism and they can be integrated with the mainstream society. Yeah. De-radicalization, yes, good. Then you miss the point of, okay, and security forces you have written here, but better to have a side heading for security forces differently. Okay, since you have decided to write separate side headings, then write for all the three agencies. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Multifaceted strategy by going together. The way forward or the conclusion can be slightly better, Kedar. You have to write about the multi-pronged approach and you can bring in the Samadhana doctrine. Yes, involvement of local civil societies, all these points are taken. But when we are talking about a holistic view, slightly more detailed conclusion, because it's a 250 word, the conclusion should be at least 3 or 4 lines with a proper orientation with regard to the solution of the problem. Okay.
Sure, sir.
See the third question. Left-wing extremism is showing a downward trend, but still affects many parts of the country. Briefly explain the government of India's approach. I think it's just an extension of third question, right? But did both of them come in 2018? I don't think.
No, sir. Second question is 2020.
Okay, that's what I thought. So what is the framework for third question? I think it's just an extension. In fact, this 2018 question is a subset of 2020 question. The second question is much more elaborate than the third question. Agreed or not? Yes?
Yes, sir.
So what is the framework for the third question? They are saying they are acknowledging the fact that LWE is on the downtrend, but still affects many part of the country. Okay, in the introduction, you can say again about some history about the LWE and talk about the Naxalbari movement, and then talk about the red corridor and say that yes, the red corridor has come. If you have any stats, you can say that previously it was more than 100 districts. Now presently around 70 districts or something are impacted, which shows that the LWE impact has reduced. Okay, definitely reduced.
41 districts, sir.
Now only 40 districts, sir. Previously
Yes,
it was
sir.
72 districts.
96 in 2010.
From 96 it became 41.
41 in 2021, sir.
Okay, so if you have that exact figure, it is much more powerful stat you can write. You can say that previously it was 90 plus districts which are impacted by LWE. Now they are hardly 40 districts which are impacted by LWE, which shows that it is in downward trend. But still 40 districts also is big number. Okay. And it impacts a lot of countries. And then as we have seen in the last question, where Kedar has drawn, even the present districts in, especially in Chhattisgarh or the Srikakulam, Vijayanagaram and Vishakhapatnam area of Andhra Pradesh. In Chhattisgarh also, you have, what is that? Important districts.
Dantewada, sir.
Dantewada, yes. Dantewada, and then the Dandakaranya range. Okay. And in Telangana, in that Bhadradri Kottagudem area. So you can just mark them on the map and say that this is still the red corridor which is there. And there is presence of Naxal movement in these areas. And then you can straightly come to the approach taken by the government to. So what was the conclusion in the last answer is now has to be elaborated in this answer. Now we have to talk about what exactly that multi-pronged approach is. You can simply say the government has to take up the multi-pronged approach. One is obviously the development and infrastructure. Okay. And then in this answer, you have the space and the opportunity to expand what is Samadhan. Here you can write, you can see why is Samadhan needed. It's a Byju's website. So they are just saying that LWE is a very big thing for internal security. It's a very big threat for the internal security. Okay. So the Samadhan doctrine unveiled in 2017, the following are the Samadhan doctrine: smart leadership, aggressive strategy, motivation and training, actionable intelligence, dashboard based key result areas, harnessing technology, action plan for each theater, and no access for financing. So these are the Samadhan doctrine. And apart from Samadhan doctrine, you can say that at grassroots level, the leadership has to be encouraged. The youth have to be motivated. More employment opportunities have to be created. Okay. The government schemes have to be taken to the last mile. to the last mile. And then finally, you can say that violence in any form has to be suppressed, because in the democracy there is always the scope for protest but not for violence. So we should not create any scope for violence. Okay. And then, yeah, peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Okay, good. Maybe you can use this as the conclusion. Who has given this? Navya. So in the conclusion, we can write about the sustainable development goal 16. Okay, good. To promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. So by bringing down LWE impact on the internal security aspects of India's development, we can thrive to implement the SDG 16, which also has impact on the peaceful societies for sustainable development. Good. The conclusion will be really good. Thanks for bringing that point.
So here we can include state governments.
Yes, of course. If you can write greyhounds.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes. You can write
Yeah,
greyhounds.
sir. Yeah, sir.
100%. I forgot at all. You can write about the approach followed by Telangana and Andhra governments. Of course, greyhounds was formed in the United Andhra Pradesh. Now the divisions for Telangana and Andhra are different. Absolutely. Greyhounds is a very, very successful example of reducing Naxalism. If some of you will become IPS in Telangana cadre, you'll be posted there first. Don't worry. First posting in greyhounds only. After training, first posting in Telangana and Andhra in greyhounds. I don't know if you know it or not. Do you people know it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Vaishnavi Cobra battalions, greyhounds, all these are very successful case studies of addressing the violence part of the Naxal movement. You can write. So for people who are aspiring to become IPS, okay. So good news is you go to Mussoorie, have a wonderful lavish lifestyle, go to here and there, come to National Police Academy, and then your first posting is greyhounds. Okay. Of course, greyhounds is a very challenging posting and a very, very prestigious posting. Okay, one good thing is you will be an IPS officer, so you will not be a frontline police officer. You will be heading one important section of greyhounds. Very challenging. And when you are in greyhounds or in Naxal impacted areas as police officer or IAS officer, whatever it is, especially if you are IPS officer, like, the superintendent of police or head of greyhounds or in those Naxal areas, your security will be as good as any state minister or even more than a state minister sometimes. That is only when you are in those Naxal areas. When you come out, you will be normal. That is a different thing. Because the IPS officers have huge security when they are in Naxal impacted areas. Because I know few of them who are there. So they have at least 5 to 10 security guards. In fact, who are
Yes,
monitoring.
I have seen.
Sriram, yes?
Yes, sir. I have seen personally.
Yeah. So the IPS officers are very seriously protected there. Right. So whose answer sheet is this? Raghu. Okay. Okay. Instead of number of districts, you have written 77%. Okay, TK. Measures taken by the government. Okay. Health and education. Yes. This angle I missed. See, again, it's also good learning for me. Ekalavya schools. Yes. Serious implementation of FRA. You can write proper implementation of FRA. Yes, proper implementation of FRA will lead to reduction of moist or these issues. Yeah, maybe Raghu, you could have expanded Samadhan because this answer gives you the scope to expand Samadhan. If you can see Samadhan, I'm being honest, Samadhan is something everyone will write. Okay, I have not recently revised the internal security, but still I know that Samadhan doctrine is there. But you'll score that extra brownie point when you expand the Samadhan.
Okay, sir.
That will give you an edge if you in such answers, because Samadhan is a proper measure which is announced by the central government home minister itself. So it carries a lot of weight. And when you, it's only hardly, so 1/8 of page, write small, S for this, A for this. And if you remember that and write that, you will carry that extra edge over the others. I still remember, I think I have written that Samadhan expansion for this answer. Yeah, good. The conclusion is good. And here again, for these questions, if you can expand Samadhan, it is very good. And then, like what Kedar did in the last question, if you can draw that small map on the right side of your answer sheet and show what are the impacted areas of left-wing extremism, it will give good clarity to the examiner that you are understanding the subject. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So see the last question of the day. The northeast region of India has been infested with insurgency for a very long time. Analyze the major reasons for survival of armed insurgency in this region. So simple question that you have to just explain what are the northeast region. If you can, again in here you can follow that map approach. You write the map and then say what are the various states which are impacted by the insurgency for a long time, and analyze the major reasons for the survival of armed insurgency. Obviously, the reason for that armed insurgency is the involvement of external states, especially people coming from China and Myanmar. Okay, so that will be your model answer. What will be the framework for this? What is the framework? Introduction, reasons, way forward, conclusion. Okay, you can simply write yes, northeast region has been infested with. So you can simply write what are the reasons for insurgency for a very long time. What are the reasons? Because for many years, Northeast has felt cut off from the mainstream Indian politics or Indian culture or Indian society. Let's be honest. Today we have so much awareness about Northeast people and Northeast culture. But then for many years, we did not have their cultural understanding. What is their race? Okay, today we appreciate, okay, Northeast people are belonging to Mongoloid race. So we know that, okay, these people are from Northeast. Okay, they were sometimes racially discriminated. Okay, and then the development was not happening. They were feeling alienated. Okay, and then it was cut off, and the terrain, the geographical terrain itself is like that. The government benefits were not going to Northeast people. So briefly, you can explain in 4 or 5 points the reason why the insurgency is still there for very long time. Sorry, how it is there, and how analyze the major reasons for survival of armed insurgency. Here, the main core demand of the question is armed insurgency. So you can say that because of these reasons, they were feeling alienated, which caused certain violence and armed insurgency. Reasons for perpetuation or the continuation or survival of the armed insurgency will be your second topic. What will be the reasons for perpetuations of armed insurgency? Involvement of external states or countries like China and Myanmar, where the arms supply is going on through the porous borders of Northeast. And then with Myanmar, we have this free, what is that called? Free permit area or
Free movement regime.
Free movement regime. 15 kilometers within India and 15 kilometers within Myanmar. Free movement regime. So people can cause violence in India and just go and hide in Myanmar. And there was a very famous operation also which was done by the army to eliminate such violent forces. So that is one
Operation
reason.
All Clear, sir.
Huh?
Operation All Clear.
Okay. So one is the involvement of external states and supply of arms through porous borders. Okay. And also some ethnic clashes, ethnic issues and demand for, you can write, for example, demand for greater Nagalim. That is one very contentious issue which is staying in the minds of people from very long, and it is causing the separatist tendencies, and that is one of the reasons for continuation of armed insurgency. And what else we can write for continuation of armed insurgencies? Neglect of the government for many and no proper infrastructure to go and tackle the armed insurgency. The terrain being very difficult. Northeast terrain is extremely hard. So people cannot go and conduct combing operations like we do for Naxals. So all these are important reasons for survival of armed insurgency. Then in such answers, better to write way forward. What will be the way forward for addressing something like Northeast insurgency? What will be the way forward for addressing Northeast insurgencies? You can write about how the government benefits. Again, the government benefits the proper development of infrastructure, addressing the ethnic issues, and cutting down the porous borders by having proper checkposts, and smuggling of arms should be removed. So these can be the solutions, and then conclude that for many years, Northeast has been cut off from the mainstream society with regard to the culture and development. The need of the hour is to bring them into the mainstream, and by developing proper infrastructure and by integrating them to the society and also addressing their ethnic issues, we can definitely control the armed insurgency. And maybe you can write about the increased political representation also.
So in this, before writing way ahead, can we mention like this look east policy or what the government measures which is just taken?
Sorry, your voice is not at all audible, Vaishnavi. Can you be slightly more loud?
Yes.
Sorry, can you be more loud?
So I was asking before mentioning about way ahead, can we write about government measures like look east policy or Kaladan,
Yeah.
which
Yes. It's also a good dimension. You can say way forward. In way forward only you can mention a dimension and then give a government initiative. That is also much more wonderful, right? You can write some way forward, like you want to be more inclusive, you want to have more infrastructural connectivity. Example, the look east policy or act east policy. Now it is called act east policy. The
yes.
act east policy wants to promote infrastructure. Then maybe you can write about the Bagor Bill bridge or whatever you want, you can write one example there. Okay. And then the recent peace talks with the Nagalim, it is got, though it has not completely it has not been completely successful. The government is making repeated attempt to talk to the talk to address the grievances of the Nagas. And then we know that government is seriously planning to do something with the porous borders of the Northeast and trying to bring in technology like the laser barricades or laser fencing. So government is planning to do that, and the night vision cameras or the night vision binoculars to see the arms smuggling, etc. So all these you can mention, not a problem. Okay. Sumant, right? Sumant, it is about Northeast insurgency. You have mixed up Northeast insurgency and left-wing extremism in the introduction. Northeast insurgency is different from left-wing extremism. Sumant, are you there?
Yes, sir. I've listened to it, but I think I thought left-wing extremism is also a part of this northeastern insurgency. So
No,
I just added
Northeast
it.
insurgency. See, left-wing extremism is up to maximum West Bengal only. Beyond that, the Northeast insurgency is a completely different idea or a challenge altogether, because there the insurgency is not, it is because of something else. If you ask a Naga people are not because of the development or something of that, because they are having that ethnicity issues. They feel they are not part of India. Okay, while coming to the left-wing extremism, we are not speaking about their being Indians or not. They know they are Indians. Their concerns are different. Northeast, it is not extremism. We call it is insurgency. The difference is there because here we feel the basic assumption of the government is, of course, in left-wing extremism also we think that the Communist Party of China is playing a role. But here we feel that the issue is more about not only India, but multiple stakeholders are involved here. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
So once you understand the demand of the question, I am sure now you will be able to appreciate what exactly you need to write. And for this question also, again, if you can draw that small map and explain what exactly you are trying to say, what is this Nagaland, what is this Myanmar, what is this China, you simply can draw that and show, boss, here is the porous border. From here we are smuggling the weapons and giving them. It will be a very good presentation. Yeah, this angle is good. Human right violations by security forces. Yes, the army excesses in the name of AFSPA. It is also one of the reasons for sustaining the armed struggle. It's a very good dimension. Maybe the first half of the answer you did not mean so much because you did not understand the question, Suman. Okay. you were talking about the left wing extremism. So the first page, the first half of the answer is not so relevant for the demand of the question, but the second half, yes, from here, the Naga tribes, human rights violations, lack of political will. So these are something which we just now discussed, radical ideas. So all these are making a lot of sense. For next part of the answer, what you have to write is way forward, along with, as Vaishnavi said, you can include certain government measures already being taken or already taken, and then conclude on a positive and optimistic way that we will solve all these ethnic issues and make for an inclusive development, and Northeast, which is a significant way for our Act East policy, okay, should be integrated into the Indian development. Clear, Sumant?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.